Follow along as I take my 1984 Ramcharger to the next stage with coilovers, a doubler, and it's going to be stretched a few inches. Stay tuned. Okay, we're still doing the stretch here, so taking a breather from here before I do any of the cosmetic stuff. I got to get the doubler done and the cross member so I can do my traction bar and drive shaft. So that's where I'm at now. So pulling out this old 208, I just dropped the skid plate. Yeah, and we'll go from there. All right, transfer case is close to coming out. I just have a few of these bolts left. It looks like had a leak in between one of the seals somewhere, so draining some of the fluid that was made in between. That's supposed to be dry, but we'll see. All right, transfer case is out. So now I got to clean up a little bit of this and kind of drip training fluid all over the place. So I'll probably have to drain the pan and change the gasket while I'm here, because that's kind of has a slow leak anyways. But yeah, not super difficult. This thing weighs like 80 pounds, so kind of easy to manhandle. The next thing I'm going to try to figure out is I need to drill the 6 stud pattern on the face of the 203. Now, one thing that you got to make note of, and even though it looks symmetrical, these 6 are not symmetrical. So what I'm going to show you here, so I have part of my off-road design, the doubler plate out just to kind of sit so I can kind of see, okay, this is the flat part, the bottom of the transfer case, so I can use this cheap Amazon clocking ring to kind of help me as a template guide, and then make sure I have this in the right spot. So I'm going to go back and forth because, yeah, you can get these holes misaligned, and it's going to throw off the whole thing, because these, yeah, look symmetrical. It's definitely not symmetrical. So, yeah, and I know a few people, there's like this hole over here where it's kind of on this ridge, and so they don't drill it, they just go with 5. I don't know, we'll kind of see. I'm going to try to see, hopefully I can get all 6 in there and keep this flat, but I don't want to clock or anything too much. So yeah, so I'm going to go back and forth, make sure I get this in the exact right spot where it needs to be, and I can still mount this flat, and yeah, we'll go from there before I start drilling, because you definitely don't want to drill in a spot that doesn't make sense. Get your clocking all off, or yeah, the hole's completely misaligned. So let's see how this goes. Okay, so I think I got this where I need it to be. I checked it several times between the transmission, the old transfer case, just to make sure I had the clocking ring in the right spot. So I'm kind of using this as a, you know, just kind of gauging that this is flat, and I marked the ring where straight up was underneath and on the other case. Let's see. Oh, now I can't see it. So, oh yeah. So this mark was the stud on the transfer case. I was kind of closest to the top, so it's kind of over on this side. It's the opposite way on the face of the transmission when you're looking at that, because, you know, the ring goes that way on the transmission if you look at the mounting face. So I have, so that one's marked there. This straight mark, kind of have it tick. That's kind of where I was going with the top, because I marked it with a level straight up and down on the when it was facing on the transmission. So that way I knew where straight up was on here, and yeah, so that's kind of what I came up with. I went several times back and forth, and I think I'll be able to get all 6 holes. So this actually will be, because this, you know, and I think I've seen some people get all 6 in here. Dirt Lifestyle Nate, that was doing this on a Dodge Cummins, the Jeep truck build. He got all 6, and I think our studs were in kind of similar location orientation with the flat part of the this doubler plate. So we'll see. Hopefully it works out good. I guess worst case scenario, I go with well, I don't know, clocking rings or different transmission. So I don't know. Well, we'll see. I think it'll work out just fine. I've done it back, double checked so many different times. So let's give it a whirl and see if it works. Got her drilled. Looks like got each hole pretty good. There's only one that I think was a little off center, and that's this guy, but I don't know, might be close enough that I think we'll be fine. Everything else looks pretty good. So yeah, let's start tapping, get some studs in there. Tapping is going pretty quick. Got one done there. Got 5 more holes to go. This shouldn't be too bad. So I'll get it tapped, and then I have, let's see if I have them over here. Oh yeah, these guys. Whoops, knocking over everything. Get that bolt out of the way. I'm gonna do these set screws. They're 3/8 size thread, and so I'm gonna, for all the holes that I'm not gonna use, I've seen a few people put the old bolts back in and then cut the heads off and kind of grind it flat. Just in case I ever want to change anything, I think I'm gonna put these. I'll put some thread sealant on them. And then I'm going to put these set screws in there. So on all the holes I'm not using, set screws, and then studs on the 6 that I am using. So that should work out pretty good. Tapping is done. All right, so we're moving on to the fun stuff. One thing I got to figure out, how to get this rod out of here. The instructions from Off-Road Design says that some of these models, the rods are made to where they can never fall on the inside, but they still advise removing it anyways. And I think this is one of those rods that just will not, I mean, it's not going to go anywhere. So I got to figure out, I probably got to cut it out or something, but there's like no room to get it out. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe there's a tip or trick or something that I'm not seeing. So get back to that. But now we're kind of getting to the fun stuff here. Got the big, or the snap ring off that the instructions say you need a big snap ring pliers for. These guys work just fine. Or these Knipex Silent K. But yeah, these work good. Got that off, and then this is actually, I think this just pops up. I think what I got here was, yeah, this to just kind of get it going. And then I had this to where it popped up. Now it kind of settled down here. So, but I'll get this bearing off, and yeah, we'll go from there. Now we're getting to the pieces that we need. So we have this off the old input shaft, so we're no longer gonna need this. We're gonna use the one with the kit. Got the bearing out that we need from this old retainer. This snap ring was a little tricky. I found that the best thing to use is just kind of a medium-sized screwdriver. If you go too big, you can't bite it and get a good enough grip before it snaps into right back into its slot. So if you get a small screwdriver and you get one end up, then you can kind of work your way around it. And I just kept my other hand over it so it didn't jump out and get me, but came up, no problem. And then kind of the bearing was kind of wedged in there a little bit, so Used a really light little dead blow to kind of tap it out, work it, and it's free. So yeah, now don't need this anymore. On to the new stuff. That's it for this video. Stay tuned for the next one in the series. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.